formation stop, and this is our vice principal, Mariana Ouakil, and she's going to give you a story about formation. But I promised you a fact and a myth, so here it goes. Okay, myth. A school's primary purpose is solely academic, focusing on test scores, grades, and knowledge. Fact. According to numerous college and career preparedness surveys from organizations like Youth Truth and National Center for Education, 55% of high school graduates do not feel like they're prepared for college or a career. 48% of college graduates who are working in a job are working in a job that does not require a four-year degree. 45% of young adults are unable to live independently after graduation, and 30% of college graduates don't feel that high school or college prepared them for independent living.
Well, thank all of you for coming today. I'm glad to see you. Think about the word formation. It's kind of vague. There's a lot of different definitions that may come to mind, or types of formation. You may think of character formation. That's where you are working with a person, you're helping them to know the value of their dignity, how they can make sure they're developing integrity, making sure that they're trusting other people, that people are trusting them, that they're building self-respect and respect for others. You may think of discipleship formation. That's when you're teaching someone to become more Christ-like, loving their neighbor as they love themselves. And then there's life formation. Life formation is interesting. I don't know if any of you saw the article recently, right, since we're just close to the election time, where there were a group of college students who had to do their absentee ballots from college. They had a problem. Do you know what that was? They didn't know where to buy postage or how to buy the stamp to go on that absentee ballot to mail it. You may also go into a restaurant if the cash registers are ever down and you try to make change and you know the struggle you run into. Life formation is simply, how do you do life day to day? So with formation, those three ideas, let's talk about transformation. Transformation comes with an intentionality. And that's what's different here at FRCS. We do transformation because we're intentional with each student. I'd like for each one of you to think right now of a person who come alongside you at some point in your life. Maybe early on, you may think of a couple people. Could be a pastor, could be a scout leader, could be a priest, could be someone in the community, a neighbor, could be an elder in your family. What that person did when they took time to know you, to know what God's purpose was for you, to know who you could be, who you wanted to be, who knew that you could be the best version of yourself, and they worked with you, and they believed in you. Now, think about society today, and our kids, our students today. Life is so much more fast-moving. It's transient. Those relationships are difficult to build for our students today. Here at FRCS, every student has a story, just like each one of you have a story. And some of our students have stories of where they want to go to Broadway, or they want to at least be in the local theater, and they perform here on the stage. We have students who want to be in the White House, or at least in local government. We have students who want to be doctors, lawyers. We have students who want to be teachers. We have students who want to work with their hands and can't wait to get a piece of wood and just create the next best piece of furniture. We have aspiring artists. We even have students who may not quite know that yet and need a couple more years to figure that out. But every single student here has a story. And the beautiful part of FRCS is that every student's teacher and administration know that student's story. There is an intentionality. There's time taken to know what God's purpose is, and then to help them meet that purpose. And how does that happen? Well, it happens through mediation of learning. It happens through mediation of belonging. It happens through competence, confidence, and belonging. So I want to share a story with you. We have a lot of stories here, and each student has, like I said, their individual story, and a lot of them are different. They come from different angles. The story I'm going to tell you today is about a girl named Lydia. Lydia was raised as a homeschool child. Her real social community was pretty much limited to her grandparents, her parents, and her siblings. She came from a large family, siblings both older and younger. She was being taught by her mother, and then suddenly her mother was diagnosed with cancer. And then her mother died. Lydia came to this very sanctuary that you're standing in, and in this sanctuary, she had to say goodbye to the most important woman in her life. And 30 days later, approximately, she was back in this gym, expected to run, expected to sing praise and worship during chapel, expected to laugh and have fun with her friends. Well, as you can imagine, that's not what Lydia wanted to do. Lydia shut down. Lydia, with clenched fists, said, I don't want to be here. I don't care about school. I don't care if I graduate. I'm only here because I'm being made to be here. We'd have chapel services, and you'd see Lydia in the back. A song would come on, and in the first 5 seconds, she had to leave. You'd see her in the cafeteria, and she'd withdraw, and she would have tears, or she just didn't want people around her. And we worked with Lydia. Every teacher here that had Lydia, even those that didn't have Lydia, there's an interest taken in each child. Lydia couldn't make friends. Her friends had been her siblings. I mean, that was just where her focus was. And so there was a writing contest that we participate here at the school at Samuel's Public Library. And a teacher found that Lydia liked to write. Lydia entered that contest and won. And that might have been the first glimpse of seeing Lydia and maybe what her purpose was. That teacher continued to work with that outlet for her. And then she'd come along and she came to the age of, as you've heard, we have a dual enrollment program, where it was time to take a placement test for Lord Fairfax Community College, with whom we partner. She stood out there in that foyer and said, I am not wanting to do this. I don't care about college. You're making me do it. I'm getting on the bus, but I could care less. Well, guess what? Lydia placed to do dual enrollment. She took one course. She took another course here on the campus, because the first year you take classes on the campus so we can guide them, guide the students through organization, learning how to be that independent learner. Then Lydia took a class at the campus. Lydia, through Community and Career, which you've also heard about, started to listen to different speakers, and she started to realize she'd been taking care of her siblings. There was a passion for taking care of little kids. She started working in our daycare. And then came time for annual musical. Lydia tried out, and Lydia got a leading role in that play. And in this very gym performed for 1,000 people as one of the leading stars of that musical. Now, Lydia came to me shortly thereafter, right before then, and she said, I need to talk to you, Miss Ouakil. And I said, okay. We had a meeting. She said, I have to tell you that I've been thinking about this, and I think I want to graduate. And I got so excited. And then she said that that's not it. I think I want to go to college. And you, over that time, saw Lydia start to formation. You started to see her start to see what her purpose was, to believe in that purpose, to see what God had in store for her. That summer, in order to graduate the following year on time, Lydia had to take 5 summer school classes, which she did successfully, and also worked in our nursery and daycare at that time. Come graduation time, Lydia gets up on the stage and gives a speech about her experience here at FRCS. She returns to this stage on that same day, and she receives a scholarship to go to school at Lord Fairfax. And then Lydia walks across that stage and graduates. And she's at college right now. Prior to graduation, she gave me a plant, and it was this beautiful blooming plant, and she said, I grew that plant from the seeds myself. And it reminds me of Lydia. She was a seed planted. She was nurtured by every teacher and administrator in this building, because everyone took time to know what that seed needed and to listen to God for what was needed. And she bloomed, and she's continuing to bloom. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
With more vocational programs and life skill programs, we'll be able to help with more space. We need more space to do that and be able to help and prepare kids for independent living. So we're going to go to our third stop, and then we'll get chatting.